Bore da I chi gyd, croeso I gas newydd, croeso I Rodney Parade. Good morning everybody, welcome to Rodney Parade, to Newport. I can't believe we're having rugby at this time. We've got a real treat for you today. It's a Welsh derby, so you can put the kettle on and get some guys involved over Zoom. Take a long lunch break because we've got live rugby for you. It's the Dragons against the Scarlets on Scarlets TV. Mae'r Scarlets wedi teithio i'r dwyrain yn chwilio am ei buddigoliaeth cyntaf o'r tymor. Gydag 14 chwaraewr wedi ei henwi mewn carfannau ryngwladol ar gyfer yr Hydref, mae Glenn Delaney gyda 15 hollol wahanol I wythnos diwetha. There's a debut for Aled Brew on the wing, while we're all delighted to see Rob Evans return at loosehead. The Dragons have 6 players on Wales duty. After beating Zebre last weekend, they'll be looking to kick on here at Rodney Parade. Tain Basham is the only survivor from that match last week, which means the young Dragons will have plenty to prove as they take the field today. Croeso ato ni gyd fan hyn yn Rodney Parade. Cadw cwmni fi, joining me is a man that played nearly 350 games for the Scarlets, Garran Evans. Garran, croeso. First question, what is the purpose of these games for both teams?
Well, this time of year, obviously this period, there is no rugby going on. There's around 60 or so players in the Scarlet squad, and probably 40 of them have hardly played any rugby. So it's important from a Scarlet's point of view that the majority of the squad can gain some rugby experience. You can do all the training as you'd like, really, but there's nothing like playing a game. And also from the Dragons, there's no semi-pro rugby, there's no A-grade rugby at the moment, no rugby at all outside of the professional game, so much needed opportunity for the majority of players here today.
Is it about winning today, or is it about just giving those players some experience?
It is experience. I suppose both teams will be looking at it slightly differently. The Scarlets have lost their first couple of games of the season, so I think they would desperately need a win just to try and gain momentum, especially when you look at the Scarlets team playing today is probably the team that's going to play in the Pro 14 matches over the weeks to come. So I think a win is important for the Scarlets, possibly more rugby experience and rugby game time for the Dragons.
Yep. Well, okay, let us know where you're watching the game today. Get involved on social media on y gwefannau cymdeithasol at Scarlets_rugby. Ond yn gynharach, wnaethon ni ddal lan gyda'r gŵr sydd wedi bod yn gapten ar tîm Dan Ugen Cymru, Jack Morgan. He gets a chance to lead the Scarlets again today. He's already led Wales, of course, in the Rugby Championship. But we went to meet him in the home of the Green Machine, Bryn Aman.
Fy enw I yw Jack Morgan, rwy'n chwarae blaen y sgellwr I Scarlets, a fi len I wedi chwarae i'r Cymru Dan Ugain, a wedi bod yn ffodus I bod yn capten I Cymru Dan Ugain. Rwy'n dod o Byrnaman, a dyna le ni eddi. Yn y pentref, rygbi yw'r prif sport sydd fan hyn, a dyna'r beth y pawb yn ware, so prif tyfus I lan o'n i wastad yn watran, dad, yn wncl, a pawb fel lan ware rygbi, a ni wastad yn dilyn rygbi achos na gyd o'n i ware. A mae fe wedi dod lawr trwy'r generations yn y tulu a pethau fel lan. Dechreuais I ware, draw Cwm Twrch, sef i 10 munud o Byrnaman, a dyma I ware 10 mlynedd fyna, a nes bod i'n 16 mlynedd ddod. A wedyn symudus I lawr ar y man I ware bach o rygbi, a I ware youth law myna, I ymuno gyda ffrindiau ysgol o Ysgol Dyffryn Aman. A o fyna wedyn, trwyddo'r Ysgol Dyffryn Aman, dechreuais I ware I Scarlets dan Ddeunaw. Ges I cyfle wedyn I ware I Cymru dan Ddeunaw, a wedyn dyma fi'n syno lan gyda Brafon o fyna wedyn I Cymru dan Ugain a cael treino gyda'r Scarlets.
At y ddwy ar hugen, ceisio dadlwytho, a mae'r cais yn mynd I ddod I Morgan. Cais gwych I Morgan, mae e wedi cyrraedd.
Nes I 1 blwyddyn yn chweched, a penderfynnes I wedyn, ni moyn dechrau gweithio. So dechreuais I apprenticeship gyda Morgan Advanced Materials yn Llansamlet, a dyma fi'n gweithio fyna am 2 flwyddyn. Mae'r cwmni yn gweithio lot gyda peirianneg. Da fi le ni'n gweithio, ni'n neud lot o fel design work no computer a lot o fe wedyn. Beth o'n ni'n neud yn cael I creu mas o fel yn llefydd fel Budapest yn Hungary a pethau fel la. A then eitha galed I ffito popeth mewn a I mynd I gwaith a mynd I treino yn y nos a cael popeth fel la. So oedd e'n dewis galed, ond dewises I yn ôl yn October I roi shot fach I rygbi. Os o'n i'n mynd roi shot fach, roi shot fyddwn hyn a roi'r amser llawn mewn I fe. Y bod yn capten Cymru dan ugain wedi bod yn real honour I fi a wedi bod yn profiad dda I fi a siawns I fi dysgu a datblygu fel chwaraewyr wrth cael y profiad. Na, mae wedi bod yn good a challenge da. Obviously, gyda blwyddyn cyn I hefyd, oedd chwaraewyr fel Dewi Lake a Tommy Reffer fel capten, oedd y capten blwyddyn cyn ni a eisiau dysgu wrthyn nhw a dy fe a datblygu fi fel capten yma. Gyda Frank di ennill y cwpan y byd blwyddyn diwetha dan ugain, so na, oedd e'n addurchog myddi nhw a wrth gwrs oedd e'n neis I myddi'r gelyn yn efe, yn Lloegr. Mae wedi bod yn dda yn y Scarlets. Fi wedi cael welcome addurchog ers ni fy mewn nôl yn October o cwpl o gwaith. A mae grŵp o boys a'r coaches I gyd yn briliant a mae good grŵp na pethau fel la, so ie, mae'n good.
Jack Morgan yn hapus fe'n arwain y Scarlets heddi. He's always smiling, Jack Morgan, and he's back leading the Scarlets again today, Garan.
Yes, to be fair, he was captain in the friendly a couple of weeks ago against the Ospreys, and he played well. He was into everything, to be fair, in the contact area. He seemed as though he really enjoyed the game, but he's an important element of this Scarlets team now, especially the next generation of players coming through the system.
Yeah, anybody else you want to pick up on there? You've got Tavita Ratuva there. He's in the Fijian squad for the internationals coming up as well. Like you said, this looks like the Scarlets team that potentially could play next week in the Guinness Pro 14.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience there. You mentioned Tavita Ratuva, but Rob Evans, of course, we haven't seen Rob play since the new year, really. And apparently, I was speaking to Glenn Delaney earlier. He seems like a new man, Rob Evans, so he's probably itching for an opportunity. And there's no doubt we'll be able to hear him from our commentary point.
Oh, there's definitely no doubt there. This is the Dragons team, a Dreigia fan in hefyd. Another back rower, Hugh Taylor there. Tain Basham is in there as well. That's a name that stands out for me as well. And maybe a Nairin Owen in the centre. He's a good ball player, young guy.
Yeah, Nairin Owen is exciting. We've watched him for the last couple of years now, haven't we, on Rugby Pawb, and seen his performances for Wales as well. Yeah, and he's got a lovely set of hands, hasn't he, to be fair. He seems to have plenty of time on the ball, but he's also a dynamic player and somebody that you've always got to keep your eye on as a defensive player, to keep an eye on him. And he does, because of that, he creates lots of space for other people around him.
Yep. Well, one player that won't be appearing for the Dragons today is their captain, Rodri Williams. He started his career at the Scarlets, but then went over the bridge to have a couple of seasons at Bristol. But we caught up with him on another bridge, the iconic Transporter Bridge in Newport.
I was from Amford, went to school Am Valley, comprehensive. Still living local now after coming back from Bristol. And yeah, all the family are local, so it's ideal for me and I like the family close. Played through juniors at Amford, since under 7s to, I was lucky enough to play youth level. Loved my time playing youth. I think it's that first experience of playing with sort of grown men at 19 years old. And you're coming through at 16, so loved my time there, and then obviously went on then to break into academy with Scarlets, and then broke through into the seniors. They set me out for experience with Llanelvry when I wasn't involved with the first team. Loved my time with Llanelvry. They played a great brand of rugby, and it was just a license to enjoy your rugby, especially as a scrum half. You want to get game time, and you can learn from those games, and I definitely learned a lot from that time with Llanelvry. And then obviously played with Scarlets, managed to get cap, and then moved on to Bristol. Done 2 seasons in Bristol, and then made my way back to Dragons. My 3rd season now. I was lucky enough to play age grades, under 18s and under 20s. It's the first taste of international honours, testing yourself against some of the best of your age group. There's some special memories in those age grades. We've got quite a strong senior squad. I think the captaincy is just a tag. There's a lot of us that control our own areas, just something that's been given to me game to game. The first opportunity was Scarlets pre-season last year. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it, and it's something but I couldn't do without the senior boys. Like obviously Sam controls the side as 10. You've got the experience of Hibbs in the front row, and then obviously someone like Elliot, who's international and speak for themselves at the moment. And you've got a lot of boys working in the background that are doing their own things as well, and we add to that this year now with experience of like Nick and Jamie. So there's experience throughout the team, so the captaincy is more of a tag than anything. To control the environment. Obviously the way COVID is at the moment, it's just disappointing that we can't have that crowd in Rodney. A lot of people spoke to us, and old-fashioned stadium just brings that crowd right on top of you, and the atmosphere when it's not the biggest stadiums, but when it's full, there's plenty of noise, and you could be in front of 35,000. It just shows the passion of the region.
Wel, cyn i'r tîm oedd o mas ar ei Rodney Parade, ges I air gyda'r hyfforddwyr. Before the teams make it out onto Rodney Parade, I had a chat with the coaches, starting with Glenn Delaney.
Fy enw I yw Jack Morgan.
Parade at this time of the morning.
Well, we're enjoying the glorious surroundings. I mean, it's a beautiful morning, isn't it? And I think if it stays like this, we should have a really good game of footy on at midday.
What are you looking to get from the Dragons team you've selected today?
There's a lot of youth out there, and I think we're trying to present some opportunity for the guys who potentially not have had as much game time as others. We're pretty proud of the young guys that we've got in the squad, and it's just about finding opportunities for them to showcase their skills and hopefully put some pressure on those above them.
Good game of footy, that's what you want to see, I guess. You want to see the depth of the Scarlets squad.
Yeah, exactly, and I think part of the challenge with COVID is there's not enough rugby out there. So Dean, myself, Toby, we've all agreed to have games. I think John as well with the Blues. So we're trying to find a solution to the problem ourselves by getting as much rugby in as we can, because otherwise it's going to be a long time between drinks for these boys, and we need to see how they're developing, how they're performing, but also they need to have a chance to put their hands up to play in the league matches. So I think today's a brilliant opportunity, and all the coaches are on board with getting as much rugby on as we can. So it's good to see it on, albeit at midday, which will be good fun.
Well, Glenn Delaney, oedd hwnna. Prif Hyfforddwr y Scarlets. That was Glenn Delaney, the head coach of the Scarlets. Alongside me is Garan Evans, a man that played nearly 350 Garan games for the Scarlets. How many was it?
343, not that I was counting.
Well, what are you expecting to see today? There's a lot of boys out here that haven't played any rugby at all for a long, long time. It's not maybe going to be as smooth as that to start with, but it's a great experience for them.
Yeah, well, it probably won't be the slickest of starts. I imagine it'll take a while to get into the game, especially from a number of players really who haven't yet played any rugby at all this season. You can do as much training as you want as a player. There's nothing like experiencing game time, the intensity of the hit, of the tackle, the intensity with the added pressure of game situations. It's a very different makeup.
Yeah, here come the Scarlets onto Rodney Parade. A few familiar faces for Dragons fans there as well, Garan, aren't there?
Yeah, there's a number of ex-Dragons in the Scarlets team. Obviously, you've got Tom Pridey there, Tyler Morgan, Angus O'Brien is outside half, and of course on the wing we've got Aled Brew on the wing, I think, who's the fourth player to play for all four regions today. So yeah, there's an extra bit of bite, isn't there, when the players play against their former teams. So we may see some fireworks.
You never know. Fireworks at midday on Rodney Parade. Hugh Taylor in the back row is leading the Dragons out. Scarlets in their traditional red, and the Dragons in their away strip of the black. There's the captain. Can have a look at a few names here that potentially you will know, because some of you won't be as familiar with all the players today, but there's a few regular faces there. Someone like Lloyd Fairbrother, Garan, he starts quite regularly in the front row. Then you've got Jared Rosser and Owen Jenkins on the wings, Wales Sevens players.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Owen. We've seen lots of him in the Sems over the years, haven't we? And I used to get reports from Garin, his father, obviously, when he was coaching the Scarlets, about his son. So yeah, looking forward to see him. He's a dynamic runner, isn't he? He's a very quick player, so hopefully he'll have some ball in some space.
Yeah, Dan Jones's whistle goes to start this friendly, I've got to say that, to reiterate it. This is a squad game. All the regions have bought into this. I've heard Glenn Delaney say that. At the Ospreys, the Blues and the Dragons are involved. Players need game time. Javan Sebastian carries into midfield. Loose
for the Scarlets to start with. Blacker. Here's the first touch for Aled Brew. Powerful runner on the wing, Aled. He's come back from Bath to cover some injury problems within the Scarlet squad, but I've heard some good news about Johnny McNichol. Inside ball, offload from Kennedy to Jones. Blacker there. First bust is for the Scarlets. Quick ball, Jones there. Rob Evans carries. Front row union there. 9, 10, 12 positions. Javan Sebastian over the 22. O'Brien. Long ball out. Asquith. 6 metres out for the Scarlets. Quick ball. Sebastian. Javan Sebastian carries again. But a penalty goes the Dragons' way. Dan Jones, the Welsh Rugby Union official, deems that the clear out was a bit of side entry. But a good start for the Scarlets, Garan.
Yeah, it was a good start. It was. They took a while to get into it, didn't they? I suppose in a way. They used the big men, Tex at number 4 and Aled Brew to carry some ball, but it was the angle from Ed Kennedy off Angus O'Brien that opened the hole in the defence. And it was good play from the Scarlets. Plenty of continuity, winning quick ball. But the Dragons have missed the kick to touch.
Yeah, Pridey looks to counter. Running away from teammates. They do get there eventually. Lloyd Fairbrother making it difficult. O'Brien outside. Could be some space here. Combia. Tyler Morgan. Gets all the way to Asquith there. Tries to get the offload. Knock-on advantage for the Scarlets. Came off of a black hand there. Another offload. Kasim. Garan, why hasn't he been playing?
It's just opportunity, isn't it? Callum Mafoney's been playing well for the Scarlets, so I know there's an outcry from Scarlet supporters that Kasim hasn't played enough rugby, but he has an opportunity today, and he was looking strong there.
Yeah, Callum Mafoney is a big man, different kind of player, Garan, isn't he?
Yeah, and to be fair, when he's played well, so it's difficult to make changes there as well. I know Kasim is itching for some game time, but he has a opportunity today to set his stall over the coming weeks.
O'Brien carries into the 22. A lot of former Wales under-20s in both squads today. Numbers, if they use it for the Scarlets. Asquith to Brew. Offload back inside. It's a Scarlets ball. Black hand got in the way there for the Dragons. But where are we? 3 minutes 20 gone, and the Dragons have been under pressure.
Yeah, they haven't touched the ball yet, to be fair to them. The attack has been good from the Scarlets. They're getting over the gain line, using the run as well, and going through the phases, aren't they? So they are putting pressure on the Dragons. What they've done, I suppose, to start the game, they've released the ball to the backs at the right moment. They haven't kept the ball too long and recycled, and once there's an opportunity they've played it, and they have dragged the Dragons defence wide a couple of times, and there was an opportunity there to Aled Brew. I just unfortunately didn't quite get that last pass into the hands of his centre. I think it was Tyler Morgan who was supporting on the inside, but yeah, they would be more than happy with the start from the Scarlets.
Yeah, Josh Lewis, I think he might have taken a knock to the head. Ar y gwefannau cymdeithasol, cysylltwch â ni, cofiwch at Scarlets_rugby. Get involved on social media. Now, this is a young guy that I've seen a lot of over the years. Will Reid, talented footballer. Had a knee injury a couple of seasons ago. But he created an impact for Coleg Gwent and the Dragons Academy. You might have seen him on Rugby Pow, but it's Scarlet's ball in the corner. Morgan Jones, another under-20s product, came through the Leicester Academy, takes it. That's on the floor. Advantage for the Scarlets. Dragons have pulled that down. Blacker wasting no time. Offloads to Asquith. Where is the ball? There it is. Pops up. Short angle from Kennedy. He stopped in his tracks.
Great tackle.
Rob Evans picks. It was indeed. Oh! Rob Evans, white line fever. Didn't quite have the stretch, Garan.
No, not quite. No, not quite. Yeah, he'll be disappointed with that one. The Scarlets looked like they did enough to score. But Rob, just as he's looking for the try line, ooh, the ball's just dislodged from his hands. But yeah, talking to Glenn earlier. He's doing a lot of work with Ben Franks. He's been influenced quite strongly by Ben Franks, new signing into the Scarlets coaching team, and he's learning a lot. Oh, and he just loses it
He's got to work on his
at the very last moment. Too much scrummaging, not enough hands for Roberts.
But great to see the Welsh international back in a Scarlet shirt. First scrum, 5 minutes gone on this friendly fixture at Rodney Parade. Pressure coming on. Folds in on this side, on Dan Jones's side. It's Rob Evans against Lloyd Fairbrother. They'd have faced each other a few times.
And Dragons been under pressure, haven't they? The first few minutes haven't yet had any balls, so it's just an opportunity now to clear their lines, try and get back into the game, and hopefully nick the Scarlets line from the next phases of play.
Yeah, you look at both teams, Garan, and you would say that predominantly the Scarlets are a little bit stronger on paper, but paper counts for nothing in rugby, we know that.
No, it doesn't. And yeah, they've taken different views on the game, haven't they? And there's a strong scrum from the Scarlets there, and they've turned the ball over.
Yeah, and the hand is out as well, a little bit of advantage. They're marching it forward. The whistle goes. Blacker takes it swiftly again. Angus O'Brien put down by Will Reid. Ball is there again. Brew with the base. Rob Evans there now. Will he pick? Will it be an offload? Pressure is all the Scarlets. Morgan Jones about a metre short. Change of direction from Kasim. He's about a yard short now.
Okay, he is holding, but he's not 10 metres off the tap.
No advantage. Come back for the original offence. Kasim was holding on at the base there.
Yeah, playing quite a high-tempo game, the Scarlets, aren't they? They don't want to waste much time. They're taking the quick taps. They want to keep on working the ball, working the Dragons' defence from side to side, and it's something they haven't quite been able to do yet so far this season. They played Munster first game of the season. Huge penalty account against Munster. Munster killed a lot of ball, therefore the Scarlets didn't really get their game going, although they controlled the majority of the game. And last week in attack, they lost the penalties against the Scarlets last week. So again, they didn't really get the attack game going. So they definitely see it as an opportunity today to try and see a bit more rugby, a bit more open players who associate with the Scarlets.
Been told to use it, and they do. Pre-planned again, bringing Asquith in. Finding some Dragons defenders in. But
Ben Fry strong.
He is over the ball.
In the tackle there, to be fair. He put a try-saving tackle in about 2 minutes ago. And again, he's turned the ball over and got the penalty for the Dragons. He's a strong young man, very strong over the ball.
Will Reid clears, but again, I can't find the touchline. Scarlets open it up one way, then back. Angus O'Brien. He's got a wall of black in front of him. Pridey through the dummy. Maintained possession. Dane Blacker there again. Rob Evans behind Tyler Morgan. Ooh, they're under pressure. Javan Sebastian does well to hold on to that. They come left, there's a chance. Rob Evans. That's what you get, Garan, if you haven't played in a while. You're desperate to carry. Oh, lovely long ball. Advantage for the Dragons. We come back for the scrum. Well, you see a little bit of that. If you haven't played in a long time, you just want to create an impact, be it with the ball or distribution-wise.
Yeah, and yeah, it was Rob Evans maybe could have passed the ball a bit earlier there, but he decided to carry, and you can't blame him. He hasn't played in months, has he? But Dragons, just a couple of mistakes in possession, and they failed to find touch a couple of times. It just puts them immediately back under pressure when they do have an opportunity to clear the lines, get back in the game. A couple of basic errors from the Dragons.
Yeah, beautiful long ball. The offload back inside.
Yeah, Ed Kennedy with the offload had to try it. I think he was going into touch, but Tom Pridey not in a position to take the ball, unfortunately. And to be fair, the Dragons' defence in this opening 10 minutes has been strong enough to keep the Scarlets out. They've had a couple of opportunities, but the scramble defence has been strong enough from the Dragons.
Yeah, they have been under pressure. There is Rob Evans. Never easy coming back, especially from a neck operation, especially when you're sticking your head back in the front row.
Yeah, and he's had a number of injury issues, hasn't he, over the last couple of years. And when you look at, he was first choice with Wales. He's had a couple of problems that have just cost him his place with Wales, but also with Wyn Jones coming through strongly. It cost him his place at the Scarlets as well, so he'll be eager to get some rugby behind him and stake his claim yet again. Opportunity now over the next couple of months to get regular rugby as starter with the Scarlets.
That scrum is on the deck. Rob Edmonds not happy with that one, as we see Jared Rosser carry over the gain line for the Dragons. Luke Baldwin gets there. Dane Blacker's taking a little blow. He's down, but it's a penalty. Holding on. Paul Asquith there doing the job of an open side. Strong over the ball.
Yeah, unfortunate for the Dragons there. It was a great carry from Rosser off the scrum with an organised defence. We won some great yards and it was a great ball for the Dragons, but I'm not sure. I think the decision was an extra roll from the attacker, which unfortunately the refs have been told to clamp down on, haven't they, this season? Yeah,
that's
Joe
the
Maximu. Hard to see really, but yeah, an extra roll from the referee. Conceded the penalty in attack, and it does take a while as a player, doesn't it? Unfortunately, when they do make these rule changes, they tinker with the rules. It does take a while to get the mentality correct for the game. They still want to. It takes a while for the old habits to move away from the players, doesn't it? And we do see a lot of penalties against the attacking team, and it doesn't help with the continuity of the game, does it?
Not at all. Angus O'Brien looking for the first point of this match. He struck that well.
Important that the Scarlets get some points on the board, isn't it? They've dominated the first 11 minutes of the game, and also I suppose it does signify that they do want to win the game. It would have been, if it was just a run out for the players, I'm sure they would have kicked it for the corner and tried to work the driving line out or whatever else they want to do. But yeah, it does signify that probably is important that they go for the 3 points.
They want a game simulation, Garen. In essence, this could be, these guys could be capable of playing in the Guinness Pro 14 in European competition, so they want it to be as real as possible.
Yeah, and yeah, it is important, isn't it? It's a skill also, isn't it, to read a game and to understand when right, we take an easy 3 points as an offer or we kick for the corner. So it is a skill, and probably the right decision there from Jack Morgan. Whether he got a message from the coaches on the side, I'm not too sure, but yeah, the correct decision once the kick goes over. It's a 3-0 lead, and they've got something to show for the first 11 minutes of pressure of the Scarlets.
Dane Blacker getting a bit of treatment. It's never great as a scrum half if you get a knock to the fingers, because you've got your hands on the egg for the majority of the game. Tell us where you're watching today. Ar y gwefannau cymdeithasol, halwch negeseuon mewn at Scarlets_rugby. Beth yw'ch barn chi am y 12 munud gynta yma. Almost 12 minutes gone at Rodney Parade. 3-0 to the Scarlets. An ex-Rodney Parade boy, an ex-Dragon, Tyler Morgan, collects for the Scarlets. He starts in the centre wearing 13. Dane Blacker, his hands are still looks in a bit of pain there as he raises the box kick. David Howells as well under that high ball. Fry carries through one tackle and an offload, but the ball has gone to the floor. If the Scarlets use this, Sebastian to Kennedy. Kennedy, a long ball to Brew. Couldn't quite grab it.
And like Aled, couldn't quite reach the pass. But a great burst from Fry again in midfield, wasn't it? He knocked a couple of boys out the way. It's just unfortunately the ball went forward from number 8 to Justine Basham, I believe. But the Scarlets turning the ball over, looking for an opportunity. But unfortunately, the pass from Ed Kennedy to Aled didn't quite go to hand. But it's an excellent start for the game for Ben Fry, to be fair. He's
if you've got to colour your hair like that, Garen,
yeah,
then you've got to be pretty good, pretty confident anyway.
Yeah. And to be fair to him, he's carrying that confidence. He started well.
Scarlet scrum, solid enough there. Blacker holds it a little bit long enough to tie defenders in. Brew carries towards the touchline. Hand is out from Dan Jones, the referee. Advantage for the Scarlets. Now then, what has Angus O'Brien seen? Oh, little gap there. How's he going to bounce for Combia? Well, advantage was over. No, it wasn't over, I beg your pardon. He comes back for the penalty, does Dan Jones. Kick didn't warrant it being advantage over. Team Basham, I think, got a left mitt on that ball in the ruck, I think.
Yeah. Referee says the ruck had been formed. It was initially, but then the ruck disintegrated, so the ball did seem to be available. So maybe a bit of a harsh decision on the Dragons there, but a good vision from Angus O'Brien. To be fair, the ball came back quickly, and he put a great kick across the field to Ryan Combia. But if the bounce had gone somewhere different, it could have been a try. But back for the penalty and the line out of the Scarlet.
Same target again was Morgan Jones. Blacker did well to collect. Brew. Oh, great tackle from Fry again. He's had a terrific quarter of an hour at Rodney Parade. In the thick of it, Sebastian. Kasim. Oh, in from the side again, I think, is the problem. I believe so. Dan Jones, his arm is in the air. Was it Ratuva that came in from the side on the angle?
Yeah, it seemed a very late call, and the ball seemed to have come out of the ruck before the referee seemed to blow up. But it's another attacking penalty. The Scarlets have conceded a lot of penalties in possession over the last few games. They're going to try and negate that and try and improve. And at the moment, it's not quite happening. Although, to be fair, Ben Fry did the damage. A great tackle, and Arlen Brew created the slow ball and created the opportunity for the Dragons to turn it over.
Yeah, not the new rules, the adjusted rules are there for the game to be a little bit faster, but it seems to be slowing everything down at the moment. A lot of whistle as Basham heads into the centre circle on Rodney Parade. Football markings are out there. Reed. That's high, but it's not really gone anywhere. Who wants it? Angus O'Brien collects an offload to Jack Morgan. Sebastian on his shoulder, Javan Sebastian. O'Brien back on his feet, long ball tipped on. Ooh, I thought it was going to be a chance for Jared Rosser. But we got time off, and I think Dan Jones, our referee, wants a chat.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the defender coming off their feet or maybe releasing the ball in the tackle. I'm not entirely sure what the complaint is from Dan Jones, the referee. But it's another penalty given in the tackle area, taking a bit of momentum away from Scarlets, but now an opportunity for Angus to kick the ball to the corner. They've got some big men in the pack, the Scarlets today, when you look at Taviti Ratuva, Ed Kennedy at 6, Uze, Kasim at 8. They've got some big men, and they've tended in the games I've seen, when the ball is close to the opposition try line, they are tending to put a lot of driving lineouts together to try and suck in the Dragons' defence, the big Dragons players, before releasing the ball out wide. So we'll see if that's the tactic.
This part of the job is done. Jones to Brew, there's a big gap there. Oh, I thought he was going to be in there. Blacker. Scarlets are generating quick ball. Fry is strong over that again. Has he pinched it? I think he did initially. Ratuva, he takes some stopping. Quick ball once again. Scarlets have got it to the deck. A lot of movement behind this ruck. Dragons are on a warning from Dan Jones, the referee. The arm is out. Is that Javan Sebastian? I think he's stretched. He's got better hands than Rob Evans, Garen, and I think the try has been awarded.
Yeah, the Dragons are complaining about the touchdown, but it's been given by the referees. Therefore, it's a try. The damage is done, obviously, a bit earlier. A fantastic move from the line out. This is what the forwards earning their crest here. Javan Sebastian, low, going for the line. The ball definitely went forward. Whether he got enough pressure on it, the referee definitely thinks so. The try has been given, but it's definitely a clever move from the line out, wasn't it? I was expecting the drive, as I believe the Dragons' defence was as well, but it was a a neat move between Dane Blacker, Aled Brew and Angus O'Brien, I believe. Just put Aled Brew into a massive hole, and then the damage was done, and it was just a matter of recycling the ball from the Scarlets forwards, using the big men like Ratuva, Usa Kasim, and the Dragons running out of numbers in the end, whilst Javan crossing the line.
Conversion is good for Angus O'Brien. The Scarlets lead 10 points to nothing at Rodney Parade in this friendly. I'm looking at some tweets and messages coming in. Come on, the Scarlets. Watching from Kent is Marion Williams. And watching in the Wendrife, Rian Bond, as we see the play that opened up the Dragons' defence. People are watching from Perth in Scotland. Coffee and rugby, happy days. Garan doing a great job. Well, there we go, Garan. People are happy.
For once.
Tyler Morgan clears for the Scarlets. Keep your messages coming in. I'd like to know where you're watching. Because you can watch this anywhere in the globe, I think. Watching in Eastbourne, in work, well, Andrew Lloyd. I hope your boss is not listening as well. But there we go. Hope you're enjoying.
Dragons seem to just keep control of the ball now for a number of phases, don't they? Just go through their phases if possible. They've done too many mistakes in possession. They've got slow ball now, not many options. So as the kick is coming from Luke Baldwin.
It's not a bad one. Tom Pridey collects. Well then, Mark Jones has taken a bit of a knock there.
Opportunity for the Dragons there as well, wasn't there? The referee, it looked like a bad injury to Mark Jones, so you can't blame him.
I just caught him. His leg was, it wasn't actually in the ruck, but someone just rolled and came on to the outside of his knee. And I thought it was either an ankle or a knee again. And I don't know if he gave a little ow. And then Dan Jones thought, right, I've got to blow the whistle because this doesn't look too good.
It might well be, because unfortunately I think Fairbrother came through the middle of the ruck following Mark's injury and stole the ball, and the Dragons had a rumble on up front as well for the first time, so they missed out on an opportunity there. Mark obviously being assessed by the physio, so hopefully it's not too bad, because he's another one obviously who hasn't played enough rugby. They want to grab as many minutes as they possibly can today. With the Scarlets have got a squad of about 31 players here, so the reason they're doing that, they're going to try and just utilise everyone at certain times, isn't it, to try and for everyone to have an opportunity to play some rugby. But we'll see what they do. But this is the try coming up from the Scarlets, recycled by the big men. And here we go, Javan Sebastian. You do see the ball going forward. It's just whether he got enough pressure down. He seems confident. Rob Ebb seems confident. So I suppose you've got to go. You've got to go with him.
The best angle, I guess, was with Dan Jones. He was closer than we can get today. There is no TMO here. Nathan Kelly, where are you? Watching from a roof of a power station in Avonmouth. Or can you see Rodney Parade from there? You're up so high. Scrum for the Dragons. They were in possession when that injury to Mark Jones happened. Free kick. Mark Jones has had a knock to the knee. Free kick. Surely you'd reset the scrum, Garan.
Yeah, early drive from the Scarlets. I believe we're not too far from the Dragons coaches here in our commentary position, actually. So they're pretty animated. I think this penalty should have come, but it's a free kick. It's a reset of the scrum and another opportunity for the Dragons.
It's a good set in the scrum. Evans has got to keep his elbow up there. It's a good platform. Basham opens up for Baldwin. Reed tries to find the pop. Brew came through on that. Has gone forward. So it's an advantage for the Dragons. Rosser always looks dangerous with ball in hand. Another one who's come right through the system. Schools and colleges program, and the academy program, and the sevens program. Reed. And Nairin Owen. We spoke about him. He is a talented footballer. Just busts through. Great offloads. Here's a genuine chance for the Dragons. Ball gets to Owen Jenkins. Just short there. Well, he's got up and gone again. No problem, I don't think. And I think Dan Jones, he's got no TMO, Garen, but I think he'll have a chat with Ben Whitehouse. The question being, I think, will be, well, did he have a second bite at the cherry, so to speak? Ah.
Right, okay. Didn't release the ball in the tackle, but he wasn't held by the first man, was he? And I'm not sure of the grounding anyway, but again...
Yeah, I can see Ben Whitehouse possibly saying that he's held up, but no problem that Dane Blacker made a tackle on Luke Baldwin. Brought him to the floor, but like you say, Garen, he wasn't held.
Yeah, so obviously it's a scrum to the Dragons, so it must be a decision that he was held up. Dragons living off scraps on there at the moment, but they so nearly went over. Well, they did go over the whitewash, but it was so nearly a try. They're under pressure in most aspects of the game, but just a half opportunity there, and probably deserved the try. It was some fantastic movement from the back line.
Dan Jones giving some scrum advice to Rob Evans and Lloyd Fairbrother. Keep your bind higher and don't let him turn you in. Okay. Let's have a look if they listen. The Dragon scrum 5 metres out from the Scarlets try line. The Scarlets under a little bit of pressure in the last couple of minutes. Basham picks, opens up, good tackle from Baldwin. From Conbeer rather. Corey Baldwin now is playing for the Exeter Chiefs, so he's not here today. Slow ball. Maguire picks. Conor Maguire signed a short-term contract with the Dragons recently. Keeps him here until January. Penalty advantage for the Dragons. And back they come for it. It's gone forward.
Yeah, Dragons knew the penalty was coming. Happy to go through and recycle the ball in the contact. The ball was very slow. It was difficult to create anything from that opportunity, but I think Scarlets weren't on the back foot. Even though we see the move finishing with a knock on, but the penalty was given a bit earlier, and finally a chance for the Dragons to create some exerted pressure on the Scarlets defence.
Indeed it is. Genuine bit of pressure for the first time in 23-24 minutes. Was that a little pre-planned move? They maintain possession, have the Dragons. Captain Hugh Taylor carries. Baldwin going to feed McSkibu, the man who arrived well qualified. Right from Connacht. Basham again, back in the thick of things. This is a contest now, and it is a penalty. When a big man like Tex comes over the ball, Tavita Retuva, he's a tough one to shift, Garan.
Yeah, he's a big man, isn't he? The ball was slow from the Dragons. Not quite slick enough from the line. Now, just a slight mistake in timing, I believe, from the run from Ben Fry. Just created that slow ball and couldn't quite generate good enough ball then following that. So Taviti Retuva strong over the ball, isn't he? Nearly impossible to move him.
Yep, I completely agree with that. What do you think about the game so far? Beth yw'ch barn chi am perfformiadau'r Scarlets ar dreigiau? Cysylltwch at Scarlets _rugby. Get in touch with us. A lot of people are telling us where they are. Watching from Australia in Queensland is Helen Kirk. Gareth Davis watching from Perth, Australia. Watching from Germany. I'm not going to try and say the name of the place, but Rick Field is out there. I've gone a bit awry for the Scarlets there. Knock forward. It's a scrum.
Good work from the Dragons line. Disrupting the Scarlets ball, always untidy. They never had it under control, and the knock-on came from Angus O'Brien. A great opportunity for the Dragons. Scrum on the halfway line. Both sides of the field to attack. So plenty of opportunity. We can see Jared Rosser is below us here in the commentary point. Very wide, lots of room if they attack the camera angle.
to be 5 metres back from the base of the number 8's feet. The Dragons are slightly deeper than that. Dan Jones wants them to use it, and they do. Scrum went to the floor, didn't want the reset. Joe Thomas, there's a bit of a story. The ex-Osprey won a Grand Slam with Wales under 20s in 2016. Spent time in New Zealand playing club rugby. Oh, didn't quite get away from the contact area there. And did Ratuva, but Joe Thomas is on a trial here at the Dragons.
Yeah. It's difficult. Without much rugby, it's difficult to show what you can do. That's why it's such an important game as well for certain individuals today. And Dragons, unfortunately, another unforced error. Failed to find touch. And Tom Pridey clears it down the field. And that's been the big talking point of the game from the Dragons' point of view, unfortunately, to begin with. They had opportunity to create pressure. They've just done too many mistakes. Small mistakes, but just when you're playing at this level of rugby, it's a great learning experience. You have to be slick, you have to be secure.
Slick and secure would be a good description of the Dragons line out there. Hugh Taylor took it. They're still behind the gain line. Baldwin turns Brew. He takes it. And he has a left boot, which is always handy when you play on the left side. Will Reid makes the call, and that's a better up and under. Angus O'Brien comes for it and collects.
Well protected by Ed Kennedy there.
Just slowing his run down a little bit. Call, use it. McSkimmy with good pressure on Dane Blacker. No one wants to collect this. Who will? Fairbrother does exceptionally well to find David Howells. And Irene Owen, seen one bust, an offload from him. Owen Jenkins, a bit faster than his father, I'd say, is he?
Well.
Is that ball out? Scarlets don't think so. Baldwin plays it. Slow ball for the Dragons.
Baldwin looking at kicking options again, possibly. The ball is slow, not much on.
The back line is flat in one line across the field, so the box kick will be the option. Well executed, close to the touchline. Good offload though from Tom Pridey to Tyler Morgan. Game's gone a little bit scrappy, Garan, in the last sort of 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, suits the Dragons. I believe when it does go scrappy, they find it difficult going through the phases. So. They're doing quite well when the game's broken up a bit.
Box kick this time from Blacker for the Scarlets, and that has gone forward. A little bit unfortunate there for Owen Jenkins. And the first instinct was to tap it back, but it somehow came forward off the bounce as well. I don't say this very
often when it comes to rugby. Good morning. What do we do?
Yeah, unlucky. When we've seen when the swallow ball develops, isn't it? We've seen a lot of extended rucks again. Nowadays, and it was something
Rodney
that
Parade
they
at this time of the morning.
tried to work out to the game probably about 8, 9, 10 years or so ago now. It is, but they are creeping back in. The extended rucks giving the scrum halves a lot of time really to pick the ball up and put an up and under in and a box kick in. So I'm not sure if it's something the lawmakers will be looking at again. They seem to clamp down on it.
They say they got the 5-second rule once the ball is available. But as you say, Garner, that long ladder is there for them.
Yeah, and it was sort of refereed out to the game about 10 years ago, I'm sure. But it is creeping back in. There's no doubt that'll be the next directive from World Rugby, I imagine.
That's Tyler Morgan, the next Dragon, now in Scarlet colours. Cysylltwch at Scarlets _rugby. Get involved on the chat on all the social media channels. Watching the Dragons against the Scarlets in this friendly. A squad game. Not really an A game maybe, but it's definitely a squad game. A chance for all regional squads to get some game time. Vital as international stars are away. The Guinness Pro 14 will continue. Good scrum for the Dragons. Yeah. Pressure for the Scarlets rather. Pressure comes on. And Dan Jones's hand is in the air.
Yeah, second shove possibly from the Scarlets there. Dragons are strong initially, but the second shove maybe from Rob Evans won the penalty. And Scarlets haven't created much really since that try. So it's the first time they're back into the Dragons 22 since the try. So they have another line out. Don't know if it'll be a driving line out or another move from the repertoire.
Well, you can see Conbeer, he is in field there. From the other side, Aled Brew got involved off the line out. Kennedy takes, this is a drive. Power comes on, Maximu, he'll have to move from there. Javan Sebastian has the ball at the back of this rolling wall.
Okay, deliberate collapse.
Well, Lloyd Fairbrother is going to have 10 minutes in the bin. He's brought that down. It must have been an infringement from the Scarlets as well for Dan Jones, the referee, to blow.
Yeah, I'm sure there must have been some warning a bit earlier in the game that we may have missed that one, because the decision seemed to come pretty quickly, really, to be honest with you. So yeah, chance for Scarlets to build more pressure. The maul wasn't going anywhere either, obviously partly down to the fact that Fairbrother trying to collapse it, but yeah, another opportunity again for the Scarlets.
Yeah, certainly is an opportunity. First job is done by Morgan Jones. Drive comes on, stopped once. Blacker digs the ball out. Asquith shows it once. Oh, has he freed his hands? Oh, he did, just went forward. And you can't place the ball at the base of the post anymore. That rule's been changed. But it just went forward.
Good move, lovely hands from Asquith, delaying the pass slightly. But Ryan Conbeer, unfortunately the ball did go on from Ryan Conbeer. There was maybe he tried to release it just half a second earlier. I don't think Angus was quite in the correct position then, so delayed the pass and it just came out of his hands at the crucial moment.
Yeah, see some changes for the Dragons. That's because of the yellow card to Lloyd Fairbrother. On comes Chris Coleman, a man we've seen in the Guinness Pro 14. And Tane Basham has left, so they'll be without their 8/7/6.
Yeah, correct decision, no? Ben Fry, Hugh Taylor looking strong.
And Irene Owen is packing down on the flank, so they'll be short, but they're going for some added weight to get possession from this scrum. Not the first time, Garan, we've seen it go down.
Keep it up or we'll penalise you. Is that clear? I'll give you the benefit of that one. Let's go, please.
Rob Evans again, obviously making his views known to the referee. As usual, you wouldn't expect Rob Evans to do anything different, really. He hasn't got Ken Owens there now, though, unfortunately, to keep him quiet, though, has he? Ken, obviously, with bad news in the week, out to the Welsh squad, unfortunately, isn't he? And with his shoulder injury, no doubt he'll be watching the game.
I'm sure he will be. Pressure comes on. I heard Dan Jones say drive square. Yeah, he's got to try and drive him out on the loose head. But if your tight head is on a little angle, he's just going to fold in. But the penalty goes the Scarlets, the Dragons' way. And Will Reid will have a chance to clear. And he finds touch this time.
No, this is definitely my limited knowledge of front row play, right? But apparently that's what Ben Franks has been working alongside Rob Evans with, is trying to stay slightly squarer in the scrum and drive slightly square in the scrum rather than to follow the tight head and to turn in too much. So it's that's about all I can add from a front row point of view, unfortunately.
Well, good play from a front rower, Mark Jones there, an overthrow. Little flick on as well. Pridey does get it in the end. Has he freed his hands? Yes, he has. Here's Conbeer. Can he get in? No, he can't. Good clear out from the Scarlets' backs there, Morgan and Pridey. Kasim. Haven't said his name too often in this fixture. Blacker there. Gone behind. Kick across from O'Brien. Brew is out there. Oh, now Jared Rosso got a hand to that. Did he make an effort to catch it?
it was well played from Jared Rosser, to be fair. Once the kick came in, he was on his own. Him and Aled Brew, one-on-one. And timed it well, Jared Rosser. He was never going to take the ball. He just had to try and make sure that he got in the way of Aled Brew, and that's what he did. It was well played. He had a couple of men to mark out wide and covered the field excellently.
Another chance for the Scarlets. People watching from all over the place. James Donovan in Malta, Diana Doyle in Greece, Erfon Higgins in T-Cross. He hasn't gone far, but that throw from the Scarlets has gone a little bit too far. Christopher Webber enjoying the match in lockdown, Merthyr with his daughter Amy. 35 minutes, almost 36 minutes gone. Still 10-0 to the Scarlets at Rodney Parade. As Luke Baldwin clears, that's touched. Aled Brew underneath it. Opens it up. Pridey to Conbeer. Asquith outside with Tyler Morgan. Asquith offloads to Conbeer, back on the inside. Scarlets looking dangerous again. Kasim, pass behind. Sebastian just overrunning it a little bit, the Scarlets, and it has gone forward.
And like you could see, it was good play. They tried to keep the ball alive, didn't they? Tried to rely on their skills with handling the ball. Unfortunately, Javin Sebastian, I think the pass just went. It wasn't a bad pass from Javin, to be honest with you. Yeah, but not correct. The pass wasn't on, really. I think one of them had to make a decision, didn't they? He said, right, there's enough for this. I'm a front rower. I should carry the ball rather than try and look for the miracle ball. You can't blame him. But yeah, it's a turnover again. The game was suffered a bit in the last 15 minutes or so. A number of turnovers from both teams. Even though there's still some exciting stuff being played.
Yeah, definitely exciting stuff. It's going to be a little bit scrappy at times. You've got to realise that these guys haven't played rugby in a long time, some of them. Pridey on the outside, does a bust. Brew, can he get round Reed? No, he can't. Blacker there quickly. Kasim, Asquith. Tavita Rutuva carries, no problem there. He's still going. Didn't really go into Morgan Jones. Fry looked to steal that ball. Pridey in a 10. He's dropped by Joe Thomas. Good tackle from him. But Chris Coleman trying to get a little cheeky shot on Rob Evans.
Come here a minute. Come here.
Yeah, a little bit early there in the hit. I think it was Coleman and Rob Evans. Okay. So the correct decision. Lots of space being found in the counter attack at the moment. You know, the Dragons are down to 14 men, but Tom Pridey looking very dangerous in space, as is Aled Brew and Ryan Combe in the last 5 minutes. The three of them having plenty of ball and looking very dangerous and creating opportunities.
Yeah, about a minute and a half left on our clock. Let's see what Dan Jones has got left on his watch. We're pretty close, I think.
Scarlets with an overthrow on the last line out. The pack will be disappointed with that. Another opportunity though, only 5 yards out this time.
Jones, who will be his target? To the back, to Kasim. Good darts from the hooker. Rob Evans breaks on the back. Oh, the back of that almost got free. But the Scarlets have got over now. Who's at the bottom of that pile? It's the hooker. It's Mark Jones. I thought he was off with an injury, but he's over for the Dragons' second try.
Yeah, well worked try. Kasim at the back of the line out, setting up the drive, but recycled by Rob Evans, leaving the drive very early when it was on. To be fair, Rob Evans saw some space, and I think he got Coleman back, I believe, for the hit on him earlier, and I think he moves Coleman out the way. Yeah, very strong run. And Mark Jones in the correct place, just to dive over the line. Well worked try from the Scarlets.
Yep, Mark Jones, an old head. He has been around the block, you know, he brings a lot of experience to that Scarlets squad. Yeah,
especially when you look at this next phase, isn't it? Ken Owens unfortunately injured with Wales. Ryan Elias will be playing with Wales. So then the Scarlets are looking at their third, their fourth, their fifth choice hookers now over the next period. So it's important to have that strength and depth, and when you do have somebody like Mark Jones with all his experience with Sale in the over the years, and he's really fitted into the squad well. And unfortunately, Angus O'Brien hitting the post there. But on this half-time.
Yeah, it is half-time at Rodney Parade in this friendly between the regions, Scarlets and the Dragons. It's the Dragons 0, the Scarlets 15. Hanner amser y Scarlets sy ar y blaen, yr ymwelwyr. Gewn ni bach o Gymraeg, gewn ni bach o Saesneg yn ynos hanner amser hefyd. But the Dragons clawed their way back into that first half after the Scarlets had started really well. And let's have a look at the moment of the half, and that was the first score, and that came to Javan Sebastian.
Yeah, it was. Scarlets have missed a couple of opportunities before that, but it was sustained pressure in the first 20 minutes from the Scarlets, and they deserved the try in the end when it came to Javan Sebastian. Dragons definitely thought it was a knock-on, but to be fair to Javan, he doesn't get too many tries, so he'll be happy with that, won't he?
Yeah, Rob Evans had an opportunity. He couldn't quite stretch there. But let's talk about Rob Evans. What do you make of his impact in the game?
Yeah, he's been good, isn't he? I mean, he's a wealth of experience behind him now, so he does stand out today. The Scarlets scrum, it has been strong. They've looked comfortable on their own ball, and they've put the Dragons under a bit of pressure. So the work that him, Javan Sebastian, Mark Jones are doing in the front row is paying dividends. It's just great though to see him on the field, isn't it? He's been lacking rugby for a couple of years now, really. We just need to get him playing regularly, getting rugby behind him, and I'm sure then he'll get his opportunities maybe by Six Nations time back with Wales again.
Yeah. Let's look at that try again. We'll take it a little bit further back to the line out. Mark Jones finds his man. A little bit of a pre-planned move, and that Aled Brew bust really opened things up for the Scarlets.
Yeah, it was a great move. It looked like Angus on the dummy run down the blind side, but the switch was made and it opened up a huge hole for Aled Brew. And to be fair, it was just recycling the ball then from the Scarlets. The forwards did the job, recycled the ball, made sure the ball came back each time. It was slow, but the Dragons, unfortunately, in the end, just ran out of numbers. The Scarlets identify there, Tex and Mark Jones, that they can go right, and Javan Sebastian go in the same direction again, where the Dragons lacking defensive numbers there. So it was always on the cards, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Dragons weren't particularly happy that was awarded. They thought that maybe Javan Sebastian had lost control of it. But the second try, we had to wait till the end of the first half for that, and that came to Mark Jones, another front rower crossing. He started things in this one, Gavin.
Yeah, good day for them from the front row.
It's almost like an action replay of the first try.
Yeah,
actually.
it is. It's a ball went to the back this time, and another pre-planned move. They set up the drive, but Rob Evans, with the vision, really, to be fair to him, to see that there was an opportunity for him to go for the line, and it was a great charge. He moved Coleman out the way, and it was easy for Mark Jones then to dive over.
It'll be longer than a yard when they get back on the bus tonight. The Dragons, they're not being completely out of this game at all. They came back into it there. A nice purple patch, 10 minutes. They almost got over in the corner. And Eirin Owen, he looks good with ball in hand.
Yeah, looks very comfortable. And to be fair, they are living off scraps. But to be fair, when they had the ball in this phase of play, they keep the ball alive. There's some great angles of running from Baldwin there. He does get... I think it's the correct decision from the referee. I don't think he's quite held in the tackle, but unfortunately just couldn't quite ground the ball. It was good defensive effort from the end from the Scarlets. I think it's Javan Sebastian diving in, hiding the ball really from the referee, so he couldn't see it that it was grounded. But it's their only opportunity. The Dragons have just made a few too many mistakes. They've had possession. They just haven't been accurate enough in that possession. But some great play there to create that opportunity, but then there was a couple of mistakes from the resulting scrum and the line out. I think the ball was turned over. The only opportunities the Dragons have had this half.
The Dragons players who stood out for you, you spoke of Ben Fry with his peroxide blonde hair.
He's been excellent, isn't he? And he's had a lot of work to do. We see him here carrying the ball. He's very strong there to go through Scarlets defenders. Unfortunately, the pass doesn't quite get a hand. But before that, he put a massive try-saving tackle in the first two minutes of the game. Then he was strong over the ball a couple of times. He's won a couple of turnovers. I know because of the blonde hair, it's easier to see. But we see him here strong over the ball as an opportunity. He's very low, isn't he? And impossible to move. So he to be fair, he has stood out in this first 40 minutes for the Dragons.
Is that just because of his hair?
No, to be fair, he has played well. Obviously, it's easier to spot them when they do the small things well. But no, he seems to have a real edge in everything he's done as well. He's been great.
Yeah, someone making his first appearance for the Scarlets is Aled Brew on the wing. Like you said earlier, Garan, he's another one of 4 that have played for all the regions. He's had a lot of ball.
He has. It's run back a lot of the ball really that the Dragons have kicked and failed to find touch. Him and Tom Pridey have created quite a bit of space. He's bundled over into the touch there, so he has been very strong. He's decided he's counter-attacked at the right times. To be fair to him, he's taken on players. He hasn't quite broken through that first tackle as we maybe expect him to do. He's that strong as a player, isn't he? But we've also seen him as well. His positioning is great here to stay wide for the kick, and it's only excellent defending. To be fair, by Rosser that keeps him out there. So him and Pridey and Combia later on as well have worked together well as a unit. They've cleared up a lot of the kicking game from the Dragons, covered a lot of territory and counter-attacked really well.
Well, internationals is what's coming next, Garan. Gemau rhyngwladol yn mynd I ddigwydd I Gymru a pethau hefyd, ond mae kit newydd gyda Cymru hefyd. Wales not only have internationals coming up, they have a new kit. Macron are the new supplier. Let's take a sneaky look at Wales' new kit.
Where dreams start. Up and down Wales.
A thrwy Gymru gyfan.
We're in this together.
Fel un gyda'n gilydd.
Anrhydedd yn yr hyn nawn.
Dros ein clwb.
Dros ein cymuned.
Dros ein gwlad.
Together, we build rydym yn cryfhau.
We grow.
We play on.
This is the fabric of Cymru.
Wel, dyna kit newydd Cymru. Dyma y gemau Cymru sy'n dod lan hefyd. That was the kit. This is the Welsh fixtures coming up in the autumn. Ffrainc yn erbyn Cymru. Cymru yn erbyn yr Alban. Iwerddon yn erbyn Cymru. Gemau ar Barca Scarlets hefyd. Cymru yn erbyn Georgia. Cymru yn erbyn Lloegr. Cymru yn erbyn TBC. Fi'n licio'r tîm na. Hwna yn dibynnu ar fel mae pethach yn mynd yn y gystadleuaeth. Oh, that TBC means it depends on where Wales finish in the competition. But some really great fixtures there for people to watch on S4C, on Amazon Prime. Great to see international rugby back. We haven't got the crowds that we've got and seen in New Zealand, but it's still a great thing, Garan.
Yeah, obviously the game in the Northern Hemisphere, it relies on international rugby, well, as it does throughout the world, really. But yeah, it's such an important part, isn't it? It's strange looking back now to the Six Nations, isn't it? It was an unfinished Six Nations. You can't really make judgments on the coaching team with Wales. That coaching team have not had an opportunity to coach a group of players since the Six Nations. Stephen Jones and Byron Hayward, I know, have been around the regions trying to do as much as they can with the regions just to get that experience of coaching again. So unusual times, unprecedented times, obviously. But yes, looking forward to international rugby. There's some great games there, and obviously it's the Wales-England fixture again. They'll be defying the ban then to cross the border then, really, to come over, won't they?
Well, let's have a look at the Dragons and Scarlets fixtures to come. Of course, the Guinness Pro 14 will be happening during the internationals. Ulster against the Dragons is the next for them. Dragons at home then against Munster and Connacht. Games that Ulster game is live on Premier Sports, and the two other ones at home at Rodney Parade. Bydd y gemau yn fyw ar S4C. A'r Scarlets, pwy maen nhw'n chwarae nesaf? Benetton i ffwrdd yn yr Eidal. Away for the Scarlets, a trip to Italy next. And then two home games, Edinburgh and Zebra. Gartre ar Parc Scarlets fi nhw. Mae Premier Sports a S4C yn dangos y gemau yna I gyd. Not long now before the teams come out onto Rodney Parade. We have mentioned him briefly. We have to talk about Ken Owens as we see Glenn Delaney and Rich Whiffin coming out there, they're part of the Scarlets coaching team. It's a big blow, not for the Scarlets, only for the Scarlets, but also for Wales.
Yeah, of course it is. You know, he's a talisman for Wales as well as the Scarlets now, isn't he, Ken? So he's a big loss. There will be opportunities for others because of it. But yes, you know, Ken was itching to get back. His performances for Wales over a number of years now have been so consistent, so professional, and obviously that's why he's had the caps for the Lions. He's one of the best in the British Isles as hooker. So he's a huge loss for Wales.
Someone on the other end of the spectrum, you were mentioning caps and Lions and that. What about Josh McLeod? He hasn't got a cap. First time he's in the squad and he's injured.
Yeah, he's worked hard, hasn't he, Josh? He was knocking on the door last season for selection with Wales. His performances last year for the Scarlets were great. He was voted Player of the Year by the squad, really. He's carried on those performances into this season as well. And just at the last moment, unfortunately, that opportunity is taken away. He would definitely have had a cap, wouldn't he, with the number of games that Wales have. So he's missed out on it, but he's of a quality. He's still young. He's got plenty of years ahead of him, and he's of the standard that he'll definitely have that opportunity again.
Yep. Scarlets are out on Rodney Parade. The Dragons are making their way out as well. Cofiwch chi gysylltu â ni gyda'ch barnau chi am y gêm yma at Scarlets_rugby. Send all your messages in to us. We'll try and get some read out. We've seen that people are watching this fixture, this friendly fixture, all over the world. Great to see Welsh rugby fans watching. Midday on a Friday. Just don't tell the boss, Gareth.
No, well, I haven't told my boss.
Un cwestiwn bach yn Gymraeg, felly Garan, ti'n modd yr hanner cynta yma, mae'r Scarlets ar y blaen o 15 I ddim. Ti'n gweld rhywbeth yn newid yn yr ail hanner? Felly welwn ni lot o eilyddion digwydd.
Ie, na falle beth sy'n mynd I ddigwydd nawr. Bydd lot o eilyddio o'r Scarlets yn fydde. Mae'n mynd dibynnu ar fel bydd y chwaraewyr na yn perfformio. Mi'n siŵr bydd y dreigiau, bydd y ffordd y dreigiau, jyst wedi gweud. Dych chi'n neud rhan fwy o pethau'n dda. Mae'n jyst yn troi'r bil dros o lotri rwydd, yn dyn nhw. Mae'r cicio ddim quite digon gywir. Mae Josh Lewis wedi mynd bant o'r car, ni'n gwybod. Ond mae Will Reid mewn, fel chi'n os, mae'n gallu cicio tym bach mwy gywir yn yr ail hanner. Neu siŵr bod nhw'n gallu sefydlu a gennill y bel yn hanner y Scarlets, le maen nhw'n gallu mynd trwy'r cymalau wedyn a trial datblygu gêm nhw fel la. Just llai o gamgymeriad o'r dreigiau, fi'n siŵr bod nhw'n dod nôl mewn i'r gêm.
Dod nôl mewn i'r gêm, llai o gamgymeriadau. Yeah, I got a funny feeling that the Dragons will eliminate those errors and they will come back into the game. And their captain is down at the moment, Hugh Taylor. Can't quite make out if he's a bit unsteady, if he's at a bang. Oh, he seems to be smiling. No problems. It was a penalty for the Scarlets. Angus O'Brien will look to take play potentially into the Dragons' half. Hasn't quite got there.
Yeah, and it's important for Scarlets, from a Scarlets point of view as well, to regain control of the game. They were in complete control against Munster a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of decisions went against them. They didn't quite finish the game as they played for the first 70 minutes, so they'd be keen that they still control most aspects of play.
They didn't control their own line out there. Really good contest by the Dragons in the air. Fair contest. Where is that ball now? No clear release in the tackle. It's almost becoming a non-contact sport, Gunnar.
I wouldn't say that. No, I think it was Javan Sebastian in there who sort of stayed in the tackle just a bit too long. He's a bit too obvious, I think, unfortunately, in turning the ball over. But a positive from the Dragons to start. Penalty deep into the Scarlets 22, and an opportunity for them. And they don't need to do too much here. It's about recycling the ball, keep the pressure on, and just see if the defensive patterns will change at all.
Yep, they're still down to 14, of course. Not sure, I haven't got a clock in front of me to say how much is left on the yellow. I'll try and listen to Dan Jones for you, but it is possession for the Dragons, and Irene Owen carries into traffic. Basham. Are they back to 15? I'm just trying to look. How quick can I count? Good pressure from Aled Brew. And here comes Jared Rosser. He looked dangerous in the first half. Ball is there. Scarlets line looks pretty secure at the moment. Coleman. Skimu. Carrying to that traffic. Javan Sebastian with a hit. Has Jack Morgan won that one? He has. He now goes forward. A little double move again. But a no arms tackle. Penalised Javan Sebastian.
Looked like a good hit from where we were, didn't it? From Javan Sebastian, but the referee in the right place. No arms, unfortunately. But at least Javan's in the right place to make those tackles, to be fair to him. But penalty for the Dragons, and deciding to go for the post and to get some points on the board.
Let's have a look at this again. Well,
maybe a bit harsh, actually. I think the call may have come from.
For me, there are two aspects to a no arms tackle, Garen. You know, if you get your arm up and you hit someone with your shoulder, inevitably they're going to move away from you, so you can't wrap your arm around. Now, if you got your arm by your side and you lead with the shoulder, then that for me is a little bit different. I thought that Javan there, he couldn't do anything about it. He got his arm up in position. A bit of a harsh penalty.
No, I agree with you on that one. It was he did lift his arm as he put the hit in, but I think the call seemed to have come from one of the touch judges, it seemed. But an opportunity for the Dragons.
Yeah, turns quickly, does Will Reid. First points on the board for the home region. Dragons 3, the Scarlets 15.
Yeah, and important that they get the first score in the second half. That's definitely what the coaches would have told them, just to work themselves back into the game, get points on the board, and Will Taylor does exactly that.
Angus O'Brien with a restart for the Scarlets. Long hanging restart. Finds his opposite number, who will be under pressure. Quick feet from Will Reid, avoiding Ryan Conbeer. And Dav Howell's now in the pocket. And he's still in the pocket. But Hugh Taylor, the captain, carries more into midfield. And they wait. Oh, that's a funny one, that, because Dav Howell, they had a perfect platform the first time. Now it's gone wrong. Kasim. Good option, I think, from Javan Sebastian there. It wasn't on. Tucked it up the jumper, just secured possession. O'Brien, little show and go. Tempted to put it back on the inside. Hugh Taylor moves away swiftly. That ball's gone forward. See if we have got replacements on the field.
Will Homer has come on a scrum half. He's one I've spotted. Replaced Dane Blacker. And made an impact immediately, didn't he? Charged that ball down from the Dragons. Looks very lively, trying to get the tempo game going again for the Scarlets, isn't he? Trying to get the ball out of the congested areas as quickly as possible, which the Scarlets did sort of successfully do at times in the first half. So it looks like it's more of the same from Will Homer.
He's come over from the Jersey Reds, hasn't he? You know, that's something that we've seen going the other way. Kieran Hardy was over in Jersey Reds as well. He's now in the Welsh setup. A couple of the Dragons boys have been over there as well. Seems to be a good link, the right style of rugby being played on the Channel Islands.
Yeah, it's a good standard of rugby, isn't it, in the Championship in England? So they get a great grounding, great experience playing in the Championship in England. So when opportunities maybe aren't here at the Welsh regions, as Kieran Hardy found when a couple of years ago as a Scarlets youngster then at that time. He wanted to get regular rugby, decided to go to the Championship, played in Jersey Reds, and then came back a completely different player to get those 2 seasons he had at Jersey Reds, playing 30-odd Championship matches in that period. He grew in stature, grew in experience, and came back a completely different player. So Will Homer's been a regular with the Jersey Reds as well. And he's obviously come to the Scarlets on the same ferry, no doubt.
Hugh Taylor, the Dragons captain, is now leaving. I'm not entirely sure that he knows exactly what's going on. I think he's taken a bump to the head. And that was a couple of phases ago. But on in his place comes number 19, Max Williams, another one through the academy, through the under-20s program as well. Where's he going to slot in? He goes onto the flank.
Yeah.
I think they'll keep a little eye on Hugh Taylor. You see the medic sitting next to him, having a chat with him. No hook there. It's quite difficult when you're under pressure, but Kasim takes it quickly. Tries to get into the Dragons 22. Has he gone on his own? The answer is no. No 10. Mark Jones carries.
Yeah, tempo for the Scarlets again, isn't it?
Another penalty advantage for the Scarlets. Javan Sebastian is really comfortable with ball in hand. I will give him that. Good counter. Will Homer did exceptionally well there. First time I've really seen him play live. Brian. Javan Sebastian spins one way. Makes 2 meters there.
Good carry.
Ed Kennedy into Coleman. Almost up to the line. No real numbers out wide. Asquith to Brew. Oh, he uses his strength and power. Still can't get in there. Good tackle.
It was good defence from the Dragons, to be fair.
It was.
Completely overrun with numbers.
Angus O'Brien has taken a knock. I think Will Homer has crossed his body strewn all over that far corner. But the man I think we've just been talking about, Garen, has crossed for the Scarlets' 3rd try.
Yeah, to be fair, I think it is Aled Brew. Great to watch as a winger, isn't he? Sometimes you expect a sidestep and an offend, and Aled just decides sometimes to try and run through people. So here he is. He's had the ball standing still, to be fair. But he definitely went for it. Yeah. It is. Unfortunately, the Dragons ran out of numbers on the far side, and Will Homer spots the gap and over he darts. He'll be chuffed with that one.
Yeah, they're so sneaky I didn't spot him.
Yeah, Aled Brew, what he can offer, of course, on the wing is when you don't have space, he is that strong, isn't he? And he's the difficult man to stop. But to be fair to Jared Rosser, he's done an excellent job on Aled Brew today. He's managed to stop him each time he's had the ball. He did exactly the same there, but just no numbers for the Dragons in the end. A few more changes for the Scarlets, while Angus O'Brien goes for the conversion from the touchline. Strikes it well and adds the 2 points. But Werner Krieger's on. Also Kemsley Mathias, so a couple of front row changes for the Scarlets there now, as well as Taylor Davis, so a completely new front row for the Scarlets. Can't yet spot anyone else.
Yeah, this could be quite difficult as a commentator here with so many changes happening. But Taylor Davis, he's back from an injury as well. He had in Europe last year.
Yeah, it was bad timing, unfortunately, for Taylor. He's coming through. He was getting much more, playing much more than he had been in his first couple of years, and it just injury came at the bad time. He's playing really well for the Scarlets, so good to see him back.
Angus O'Brien has left as well, which means that Sam Costello is on, another under-20s product. The man that came through the Leicester Academy, Leicester Tigers. As did Morgan Jones in the second row for the Scarlets. Homer. He's happy just to clear that.
Yeah, he's a bit disappointed, isn't he? I think he wanted to kick it a few more yards down the field, so he's disappointed with that one. But still gets the play up to the 10-yard line. Dragons line out.
Sometimes after scoring, the best place to put the ball is off the field. Just takes the sting out of the opposition. See so many errors from the restart from many teams. An overthrow from the Dragons. Jack Morgan on the charge up towards halfway for the Scarlets. Homer digging for possession. Kasim carries into contact. He's held up by Max Williams. Did he release that? I'm not entirely sure, but no penalty. And a little roly-poly. That's up in the air from Costello. David Howells came forward, but I think Asquith got it. Lovely hands from Matthias. Rosser came in.
It was a good hit, especially on a big man.
I was going to say, if you're going to come in to pick someone to tackle, you don't want to pick Tex.
Yeah, and he did pick his legs up, but obviously Tex is so big. I think they just fell back down on his back rather than any shoulder area. So I think they might have a word just to be a bit more careful. In fact, it's a yellow card actually.
Oh,
it does seem harsh. He did pick his legs up possibly, but. If it was on anyone smaller than Tex, then maybe it might well have been a yellow card.
Tavita Rutuva is 22 or 20-something stone, is he? Not quite sure why. Well, it's a double whammy, I think, for the Dragons, because Jared Rossers had the yellow, as he potentially was coming off for Rio Dyer to come on the field. But they're both sitting down now, and the Dragons are under pressure in the corner.
Yeah, I suppose. Letter of the law, Jared Rosser, no matter how big the man that you tackle is, if you do dump him there on his, you got to put him down carefully, and it didn't. So maybe the yellow card might have been fair enough.
Kennedy with possession, but they've lost it. Fry cleans it up for the Dragons. Advantage being played. I think I can see that Josh Reynolds is on as well in the front row. We will see lots of changes. His advantage still being played. I think so. Dan Babos is on as well at scrum half for the Dragons, and he does clear well.
Yeah, good defence from the Dragons, disrupting the Scarlets.
Same Barbers as well as Ben Fry.
We might mix them up if we're not careful. The good defence from the Dragons, cleared their area. Scarlets line out.
Taylor Davis with a throw. Finds Kasim. Homer under pressure from Babos.
Good disruption again from the Dragons, isn't it?
Oh, it was a clear out there as Rutuva feeds on to Homer. He likes that corner as well, Homer, but doesn't quite get in there this time. If I was Tavita Rutuva, I'd hang on to that and opened his legs.
Yeah, quite possibly. Passed it a little bit too early. Unusual decision from the referee, Werner Krier, obviously to the Dragons coaches beside us and to me really. Sorry, Werner Krier came off his feet in the tackle area, doesn't he? But the referee decides that it wasn't illegal, but it created a great opportunity for the Scarlets. Tavita Rutuva just passed it a little bit early, so I'd probably go with you there, Reece.
If I was that big, I'd never pass the ball, Garan. Advantage. Scarlets have possession right on the Dragons line, looking for the fourth score as the ball just goes into touch. Talking about tries, John Llewellyn. He's only just found the feed of this live game between the Dragons and the Scarlets. Who scored the tries? Well, we can tell you. First one was Javan Sebastian for the Scarlets. Second one was another front rower, Mark Jones. And the third one was scored by Will Homer on as a replacement scrum half. So it's 22 points to 3 for the Scarlets.
The Scarlets just blew a golden opportunity there, didn't they? 3 people waiting for the scoring pass. Tavita Rutuva, Ed Kennedy and Aled Brew, and all seem to leave it for each other for some reason, and the pass goes into touch. But it's still a Scarlet scrum. It's 5 yards out and the pressure building.
Scarlets ball in the scrum. Possession is clean. Trying to keep it in there. There's Homer and Kasim. I don't think you want to pull it out of there. Might as well try something now. Costello. Can he stretch? Yes, he can. He read the play well there. Something had gone wrong. They didn't plan that, and he thought, right, I'm going to do something off my own back. And he read the play perfectly.
Yeah, it's a well-worked try from the Scarlets. They worked well together, didn't they? Costello and Will Homer. Costello comes from the blind side. Initially, he goes from the open side to the blind. You're expecting the pass to go from Will Homer there, but to be fair to Will Homer, as he makes the break down to the blind side, it's Costello that comes back to the open side and hits a great angle. Well played from the Scarlets. A bit of imagination there. I don't know if it was a pre-planned move or a late call from Costello, but one way or another, It's a try, and Costello with a chance to convert his own.
Yep, 7-pointer. The man in Scarlets colours.
Yeah, another, obviously, unfortunately, the Dragons down to 14 men again. They are under pressure. It's even more difficult, obviously, when you've got one less defender. But there we see the try again. He did well to finish it, actually, even though it was a well-planned, a great angle. He still had some work to do to beat 2 men and score. Exciting future ahead of him, isn't it?
Certainly is. Gets the ball again. Clears upfield. Does he find the touchline? Yes, he does. Very good. Always the best option in my book.
Yeah, he's feeling confident, isn't he? He's perfectly weighted. Kick just clears the touchline on the Dragons' 10-yard line.
More changes happening. But up goes Ben Carter in the second row for the Dragons. Will Reid round on the outside to Jenkins. Oh, great pickup from Homer. Picked it off his toes. How's his gas? I think it's pretty good. I don't think he's going to be caught. This is going to be a 5th score and a 2nd for Will Homer. That came from absolutely nothing.
Oh, Dragons be kicking themselves, unfortunately. It's a kick ahead, a good option from the Dragons. But Will Homer, it's great feet, isn't it? It's off his left first and then his right. And the gap just opened up. The Dragons, again, still down to 14 men. Just lacking the defensive numbers, but an opportunist try, isn't it, from Will Homer. Looked sharp, but it was. I was most impressed with his feet from good hands from a low pickup. He's put a left-right step in. And everything's opened up, and it's another try for the Scarlets, who are in complete control.
Great conversion from Sam Costello. Extending the Scarlets' lead. We see that great pickup there, Garen. Great hands.
Yeah, it was, to be fair. He was down and back up in one movement, while sidestepping off both feet, and fully deserved.
More changes. I can see Paul Asquith, Tavita Ratuva and Tyler Morgan leaving. We'll figure out who's come on.
Johan Nicholas is one.
I can see him there. Good to see him back as well, not with injury. Pridey.
Jack Price is also on and about to carry the ball. Corner Edwards on for the Dragons.
He is. He's wearing no number. The man with no number, as Aled Brew carries up towards halfway. 57 minutes, 57.5 minutes gone. Costello looks for another little break. Good tackle by Ben Fry. Dragon 3, the Scarlets 36. 2 yellow cards in this game, both for the Dragons. It's hindered them quite a bit. As the noise of that whistle. Being penalised a little bit more frequently now. That's what happens when you're under pressure.
Yeah, Scarlet's edging the decisions. Unfortunately, it's Ben Fry there, who's penalised, killing the ball on the floor. But Costello fails to find touch.
Brav Howells clears, and as he's done so, he's might have tweaked a little bit of something. A little bit of hamstring.
Yeah, unfortunately, he hasn't had much opportunity today, as he'd have. Howells, obviously a great talent, but it just hasn't quite had enough ball today. Seems to be holding his calf muscle there.
Yeah, just pulled something there. Cysylltwch hynny, cofio ar y gwefannau cymdeithasol. Ni moyn clywed eich barn chi am y gêm, neu moyn gwybod le chi'n gwylio'r gêm. Where are you watching the game? What are your thoughts on the game? Let us know at Scarlets_rugby. Man of the match, that's something. Garan, do you fancy picking a man of the match today? Yeah, we'll do it as well, but we want to know who you think will be I shouldn't say man of the match anymore. It's player of the match, of course, I should be saying. As Dav Howells leaves.
Yeah, Dan Davis on, Carwyn Tuipulotu on as well for the Scarlets, so they are making a number of changes now, and unfortunately David Howells does have to leave the field.
We're still on at the moment, and the game has restarted. Here is Carwyn Tuipulotu. Big ball carrier. Wrapped behind. That's an interesting little kick as well. Pride will be after this. Owen Jenkins has time and the composure to leave it go. So it will be Dragons' ball. It will be under pressure in this corner. Carwyn Tuipulotu, another one in the Scarlets Academy. He's played representative age grade rugby for the Scarlets. He's wearing number 28. Where was he at college? Was he in Sudbury? I think he was. And he's involved with the Scarlets as Babos thinks he's gone away. But he didn't take it from the mark. Dan Jones, our referee today, just explaining that.
Yeah, Dragons desperate to show something, aren't they, to be fair to them. They've battled well. Few too many mistakes, as we've already mentioned. But there's 20 minutes left. They'd like to get a foothold now in the Scarlets half for the period. Just to get a bit of ball in hand. Try and go through their phases, try and go through their patterns, try and get some positive moments out of this game today.
Yeah, absolutely. A good patch in the first half. If they would have scored, things can change quite dramatically. Ben Fry, he stood out.
Good feet as well.
Hair. Yeah, nice hair, nice feet. Will Reid. Didn't quite open up for him. Fresh legs for the Scarlets. They'll all look to make an impact in this kind of fixture as well.
Yeah, and a slow ball for the Dragons, isn't it? Looking at the kicking options again now.
Babos with the box kick. Pridey back there. He has looked very, very safe under the high ball, and the Scarlets have done this quite well as well. Taking a kick, 1-2 passes to lift the pressure. Owen Jenkins using his 7 skills. Johan Nicholas after him. Rio Dyer, another 7 specialist. He's on the field wearing 23. Good carry there from Josh Reynolds. Taking a knock as Morgan Jones in the second row. Hasn't gone forward. Basham, Reid.
Oh, well played.
Not a bad little option. Is it going to stay on the field of play? No.
Lovely kick in behind. I think they've noticed that Aled Brew is up very flat defending, isn't he? Does come in tight and flat. Looks for the hit. So the kick was put in just behind him. Found some space, but unfortunately they just ran out of room. The Dragons. A couple of injuries at the moment. Ben Fry having some treatment. And Ed Kennedy, I believe, with the Scarlets.
Yep. Ed Kennedy's coming off. I think Tom Phillips is on there. Ben Fry is okay. The Dragons are back up to 15. Just looking who's on the field for both teams now. It is quite difficult. The back three of the Dragons. Jared Rosser, Owen Jenkins and Rio Dyer. Some serious wheels there. Connor Edwards in midfield with Joe Thomas. Will Reid at 10, Babos at 9. The Scarlets, well, they've made huge changes as that overthrow goes over the top of Tom Phillips, but the throw wasn't straight from Taylor Davis. And the Dragons have opted for a scrum.
Yeah, and it's an opportunity for the Dragons again. A couple of lineouts. Gone astray for the Scarlets, given an opportunity to the Dragons in the Scarlets half. Lots of changes made, so I know it's a difficult period in the game for both teams. As players on, they want to create opportunities, don't they? They want to be playing next week and they want to put their hands up for selection, but they still need to do that within the patterns of play of each team.
Well, this is advantage, and this is going to be a score for the Dragons. Great reactions from Jared Rosser. That wasn't lost forward in the tackle from Connor Edwards. That Dan Jones said it was ripped in the tackle, and we will see it again. Conversion is over. They've taken that swiftly as well.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know if
maybe
it was a
fingertips from Johan Nicholas, maybe.
But to be fair, it's a well-deserved try for Jared Rosser. He's been evident in the game from his from defensively. To be fair to him, has kept Aled Brew quiet and also put a huge hit into Viti Ratuva. So he definitely deserves that try. He only just come back onto the field, but I'm not sure. I think the ball did seem to be knocked on from a Dragons player rather than ripped, but it's a deserved try for Rosser.
And that's gone straight over the far touchline from Costello.
Yeah, a couple of mistakes creeping into the Scarlets game as well.
16 minutes left in this game, 2 quick scores for the Dragons. You never know.
Well, Scarlets were in complete control against Munster, weren't they, with about 13 minutes to go.
Don't remind the Scarlets fans of that.
No, I know, it hurt, obviously. It does, still hurts. But they've got some experience, but the changes are still being made for the Scarlets. Looks like Tom Rogers is coming on for Aled Brew. Tom Rogers played well, started the season well, to be fair to the Scarlets. Taking his opportunity, looked very comfortable in the Scarlets team. Looked dangerous in attack and did his work defensively as well. So he's had a good start to the season, Tom Rogers.
Yeah, Aled Brew sits on the far side of the field watching play now. 65 minutes. Debut for the Scarlets. Penalty for the Scarlets as well. Maybe the play could have been let go there a little bit because Carwyn Tripoloto exploded off the back of that scrum.
Yeah, good nudge from the Scarlets front row. Been replaced now as Taylor Davis, Werner Krier.
Werner Krier is most probably twice as old as some of the players on the field here today.
Yeah, he's been looked after at the moment, isn't he? He's obviously started a couple of games at the start of the season. Obviously come off the bench for Samson Lee, Javin Sebastian. So they are trying to look after him. I'm not sure, I think he must be 34 or 35 now by this time.
A little bit older than that.
Yeah, so
he's South African passport.
Yeah, trying to manage him through the season, I think.
Why not?
Glenn Delaney and the coaching team.
Taylor Davis has got the ball at the base of this. How has that gone down? Now it's going to be a scrum for the Dragons. Legally, it's found the floor.
Yeah, small wins for the Dragons, aren't they? Important at this in this period. The driving line-out set up again by the Scarlets. But to be fair, the Dragons did their work there and got the small wins. It's still important. They still 15 minutes left, 14 minutes left in this game. Be nice to have an opportunity in the Scarlets half again.
Yeah, some more changes. Rhys Lawrence is on in the middle of the front row. Another one who signed a short-term contract until January. Especially handy when Elliot D has been called into the Welsh squad. And Evan Lloyd is on wearing no number of 10. He's replaced the replacement, Will Reid. Another one coming through the schools and colleges programs and the academy. That's his first touch. Finds Conbia. There's Tom Rogers. Always looks to counter. No clear release maybe there.
No.
Will Homer. Inside, outside. Finds Conbia. Fighting for everything still. Costello back inside to Morgan Jones. Good little offload there. Homer. Oh, and opened up. But Sam Costello couldn't quite keep hold of that. What about man of the match as we look at Aled Brew? He created an impact in the first half, did well, carrying the ball, was involved a lot, but who else has caught your eye, Garan? Pwy sy'n falle yn sefyll mas I ti yn y gêm yna, chwaraewr y gêm?
Ie, I fod yn deg, mae lot o chwaraewyr wedi wario'n dda, felly mae'n anodd wneud y penderfyniad yn y tri ôl fi, dwi'n meddwl, fel ysgellwr yn un, fi'n cadw'n edrych ar y tri ôl fel rhywun, ond mae Tom Parade wedi bod yn dda. Mae wedi bod yn amlwg, mae wedi gwneud y penderfyniadau iawn, mae wedi dewis i redig y bel nôl pan oedd eisiau, a hefyd cico'r bel pan oedd angen hefyd, felly mae perfformiad fe wedi bod yn dda, ond hefyd oedd Angus O'Brien oedd yn lliwio'r chwarae'n dda i fi ar ddechrau'r gêm, felly so oedd rhaid i fi fynd am rhywun, ni wedi gweld Costello yn gael ail hanner eitha ddisglair, oedd Angus O'Brien ar dechrau'r gêm yn edrych yn...
Gen i weld, sy'n rhaid i ddewis e Tom, mae digon amser ar ôl y gêm.
Diolch, mae'n 12 munud, dan i fynd, ysau. Dwi'n meddwl yn bwytio yn fach.
Yeah, there we go. Garan is going to think about the player of the match in this friendly fixture between the Dragons and the Scarlets. Plenty of players on show. 55, 56 maybe players. You might see them all on the park at some point. Up she goes from Evan Lloyd from a free kick. Will Homer, he's been on for a half, created an impact. It's an advantage for the Dragons. Advantage is over, a knock-on advantage. Babos digs for it. Coleman, there are numbers here. Jenkins, he'll get on the outside. Costello gives chase. Finds Rio Dyer. Did well to keep his feet on the field of play. Lloyd, has that gone forward? No, it's gone back. Lawrence, that's gone forward. Tom Phillips reacts there for the Scarlets. The ball is there. Johan Nicholas loves to carry. Into the Dragons half he goes. Homer. You're right, Garan, his tempo is exception. He's quick to the bases, Will Homer. Especially with two missing now with the Welsh squad. You've got Dane Blacker and Homer there at the Scarlets. They're in good nick in the scrum half position.
Yeah, Gareth Davies, Kieran Hardy in the Welsh squad. Still good options for at scrum half for the Scarlets, isn't there? Oh no, gosh, there's 4 new players come onto the field.
The bench is empty, is it? 27?
Yeah,
come on, looks like front row. Some front rowers have only had maybe 20 minutes. Yeah. They'd wish that would always happen.
Yeah, it's a complete change in the front row.
It is, they're all off, so they put another set on, so that would mean that Sean Evans is on with Dylan Evans and Harry O'Connor. I think they're all on. That's still a more now on the deck. There is no ball to pop out, there it is. Basham. Babos. Real contest at the ruck. Dyer throws a little dummy as Josh Reynolds carries. In strongly is Sean Evans over the ball, and I think he's pinched that, has the prop forward. Great play. Another come through the academy, schools and colleges programme, the under-20s. Ball is there for the Scarlets, as Will Homer sets that long ladder again. And he finds the touchline, doesn't find too much distance there, so Garan, we'll talk about player of the match and we'll let you pick it around 75 minutes. Are you happy with that? Have you got enough time to decide?
Yeah, I'm still thinking.
It's the Dragons line. Reece Lawrence finds McSkew. And he gets the ball back. Scarlets come through there. Ooh, Tom Phillips was tempted to come in from the side. Lawrence into Tupilotu. McSkimu looks like he's going to play 80 minutes. Ball is there. Dragons going through the phases. Dan Davis. So you see exactly who is on. Yeah, Dan Davis is on 26 as well. He was strong over the ball there. Every ruck is a contest now, and the Scarlets have won that breakdown. They've won a penalty.
Yeah, did well initially, the Dragons there, didn't they? Got over the gain line, recycled the ball, but just few too many chances for the Scarlets to get in there and slow it down, and that's what happened in the end. won the penalty. Costello with an opportunity to clear the lines.
Almost got to play in pairs now. Sometimes one with a tackle, man that's closest to him, then Jackals for the ball. There's a small gap for him to go there. Line up for the Scarlets. Goes to the back to Dan Davis. See what they've got on offer behind. Costello, long ball, flicked on by Rogers. And with a touchline goes Joe Miles.
Yeah, half an opportunity created for the Scarlets. The pass, a tip pass, I believe, from the Scarlets. Created an opportunity there for Sean Evans, but enough Dragons defenders there in the end to bundle him over the touchline. You can still tell the Dragons want to finish the game well. They want to attack.
Well, you get the impression, Garan, that the boys just want to play rugby, don't they? They're just happy to be out here, trying to create an impact, show the coaches what they've got to offer. This man has got some serious gas. Great tackle by Sam Costello on Rio Dyer. They used to play for the 20s together. Good angle there as well by Josh Reynolds. Babos digs the ball out for the Dragons. Connor Edwards. And he's under a bit of pressure. Who's wearing 20? Joe Miles almost got his mitts on that. Have the Dragons lost that forward? No is the answer. George Young. In play. I think Newport High, George Young, was in the schools and college programme, if I remember correctly. Connor Edwards. Round, with an offload. Sam Costello read that perfectly. Babos is cleared out. Another one on the field. Joe Roberts wearing number 23 for the Scarlets. Taken quickly. Rogers. Tried to find Dan Davis. He's taken a knock as well. A few players down injured. Homer's down. Rogers is down.
Tom Rogers winded there, looks like.
Yeah, I hope it is just that. Lovely little dink for Joe Thomas over the top. He decides to kick as well. Rosser after this. Costello chase back for the Scarlets. Looks for the touchline. Well,
he's done well, hasn't he, Costello?
They have done well. The pressure will arrive. Dylan Evans gets to the base. Good pass off the left hand from the loose head prop as well. Well, I think that's full time. I think he's blown the whistle here. Our clock was 4.5 minutes just behind it. Has caught us a little bit by surprise, Garan.
Yeah.
We were going to just name the player of the match. Okay, let's do it now.
But I have decided, which is some positive news. I have decided.
Come on then. Who was it?
To be fair, you look at the Scarlets front row in the first half, especially. Performances from Rob Evans, Javon Sebastian, Mark Jones were excellent, but who controlled the play in that first half and possibly went under the radar really was Angus O'Brien. For me, was man of the match. I'm sure from a coach's point of view, he got the patterns of play moving for the Scarlets, got the backline moving when required, put some kicks in behind a couple of times as well. So just controlled the play for the Scarlets, and difficult to pick one person, but I would have to go for Angus O'Brien then.
Well, there we have it. Finishes at Rodney Parade. A score terfynol fan hyn y dreigiedig, y Scarlets 36. 36-10 Scarlets victory. But I'm sure coaches have got much more from the match than just a full-time score. The moment. Well, here we have it. A great pickup and a score by a replacement scrum half, Will Homer.
Yeah, special try, opportunist try, isn't it? Back there clearing. Just the hands were so good to start with, but then in one movement to pick the ball up and to put in a step off the left and the right to send the defenders completely the wrong way. It is an opportunist try, and great. They've had some good youngsters here again today, really, haven't they? And Will Homer and Costello looked really strong in the second half.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tries here. I think it was 5 tries to 1, I think it was, and we'll try and show you all the tries there. See the players out there now having a chat. How did it go? How did you feel? What was it like being out there again? you will be rusty. You know, you'll feel the bumps tomorrow, Garen, from this one. It's different to training.
Yeah, these boys, they haven't played to that intensity, have they, this season yet? A number of them, actually. So it's definitely something that'll be a positive from both sides. The Dragons, they were more inexperienced than the Scarlets. The Scarlets have picked a very strong second team here today. So you'd probably expect them to edge the contest. Dragons will learn a lot from it. It's just the odd mistake in the Dragons. They never, unfortunately, got their game going because of the mistakes. And it was just the odd mistake here and there, but nothing really happened. But what we did find is the Scarlets took their opportunities, didn't they? And this is one of the best tries of the match. A switch from Costello really went, down the looking as though he was going to attack the blind side of the scrum. Very late in the scrum, comes round to the open side and just a massive hole. So there were a couple of good plays from the Scarlets there throughout the game, really, that got the defences having to think a little bit differently. So it's quite a positive performance, undoubtedly, from the Scarlets.
Yeah, that was Sam Costello's try. I think that was the 4th try for the Scarlets. He did impress coming off the bench. You know, that's another name to look out for, another man who's come through the under-20s programme. What's your opinion? Is that programme working? The schools, colleges, academy, the age grade programme working?
It seems like it is. It's difficult for me to answer that one, really. But yes, when you look at the development structures, and obviously I'm talking from a selfish point of view, really, is what I know, really, is from the Scarlets development structure. So forgive me for that. But yes, when you look at the pathway in the Scarlets, it is creating opportunities for players to be developed and players to improve from the semi-pro game, the semi-pro clubs, all feeding into the Scarlets and to the development structure, and then vice versa down to your clubs like Villeneuve and throughout West Wales. They're all feeding into the development structure. So yes, you could say it's working. We've seen some great performances today from Scarlets and from the Dragons, to be fair. We can't discount the Dragons. There's some real young players on show, some players with bright futures in Welsh rugby ahead of them. So it's all positive, isn't it?
See the Scarlets having a chat. Glenn Delaney in the middle there. That's the first victory of the season, Garen, for the Scarlets as well. They lost against the Ospreys pre-season. And they've lost their opening fixtures in round 1 and 2 of the Guinness Pro 14. Interviews with players and coaches will all be on social media later. Cofiwch cysylltu â ni at Scarlets_rugby. Ni moyn clywed eich barn chi am y gêm yma. Odych chi moyn gweld mwy ohonyn nhw? Do you want to see more of these games? Let us know what you thought of today's match. Let us know what you thought of Garen Evans' player of the match selection. Angus O'Brien got that nod. But it's the Scarlets that will be happier. They had the victory at Rodney Parade thanks to some cracking scores. So we leave you with one of those. Diolch yn fawr, hwyl fawr.
Na bo.